You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
From kitchen chaos to well-oiled machines, get ready for newfangled technology and old-school know-how. Stories and a good bit of fun. I'm Simon, and this is Culinary Mechanic. I don't know about you, but I did not get into the restaurant business to spend all my time in a cramped little office. I love being in the kitchen, out on the floor. And if you're nodding your head right now, I want to introduce you to an amazing company called Starfish. Look, I've gotten to know their CEO, Jordan, recently, and what they're building really impresses me. They're using AI to read your P&L, and they're going to email you actionable insights every week so you can lower your costs and increase revenue. Best part is you don't have to spend time digging through your P&Ls, poring over reports in that cramped little office. Starfish is going to do that for you so you can get back to the part of the business that you love. If you're interested, go to their website, use starfish.com. That's USE, starfish.com. And tell them Simon sent you. According to the... There we go. All right. Joining me today is Justin Brunson from Brunson Meat Company. Justin, welcome to Culinary Mechanic.
Awesome. Happy Friday afternoon, my man.
Yeah, man. Happy Friday. We're going to drop this on a Tuesday, but that's okay. Full disclosure, I've been a fan of yours for, 12, 13 years. I was in Denver on a business thing, and I got the opportunity to eat an Old Major, and I was like, this guy really gets it. So
we took some really dope food out of that joint, so thanks.
Oh, yeah. I remember being caught in a downpour, in late August, and walking in, and your bartender, from 10 feet away, throws me a bar towel, and he goes, "Here you go, sir. You'll feel better in a minute." And I was like, man, this is. I knew I was kind of I was in a home, I was in a place that I could call home. But here we are in 2025, and you got some cool stuff going on with Brunson Meat Company. But I think before we get to that, I'd really like to say, just how'd you get into this industry? How did it start for you?
I mean, I've always been a fat kid. I've always liked to eat food. My grandma was a really amazing cook. I grew up in Iowa, we hunted and fished and foraged and gardened, and there was always foraging going on. I mean, food, like being from the Midwest, food's a big part of who you are. And, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa and grandma growing up. And my grandpa grew up in the Great Depression. So, if he could hunt or fish or grow or something like that, there was canning going on. And it was, just food's always been part of life. I mean, he'd even go as far as he knew where all the walnut trees were, and we'd go, pick the walnuts up off the ground and soak them in the water and, to clean them off and dry them out and pick the nuts out of them. We'd go foraging for, beech nuts and stuff out in the woods, and then all the morel mushroom hunting in the spring, and tons of fishing and, deer hunting. Just food's always been around. If you're going to harvest all that stuff, you just don't do it for fun. It is fun to do, but, it really comes down to, eating and I love food, and I think the Food Network came out, I'm 45 now. So watching back in the day, I think it was Emeril Lagasse and Bobby Flay. But even before that, watching Graham Cure, Justin Wilson, and all those old cooking shows. I'd sit there with my grandma and watch Julia Childs, and I like to eat, man. I've always liked to eat. So that's what really got into me. I'm a fat kid.
Nice. Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I
love it. And so obviously restaurant work is part and parcel to getting to eat a lot. So how did that kind of like how did the industry thing sort of fall in place for you?
Yes, I mean, I think my first restaurant gig, I might have been 14 years old washing dishes for a catering company in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then I think, I definitely did some other stuff with that catering stuff, like as a server. And then, I think when I was more like, I don't know, 17, I went off to college in Iowa and needed to make some money. And I was like, well, I think I could be a cook, and became a fry cook.
Nice.
Got kicked out of college. Yeah, I had to, and then I had to figure it out. And I took like a year off, worked in a feed warehouse, and I was like, well, I really love food. I think I want to go to culinary school. So I took that journey through Le Cordon Bleu down in Scottsdale.
Okay.
This was probably in 20, or sorry, oh, oh, it was oh 01, I think.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah, oh 01, not 21. But yeah, but I mean, I think I got my first taste of it when I was 14. Um, Schlepping dishes, man.
Yeah. I don't know. We got to go back and say one thing for sure, and that is Justin Wilson.
Yeah.
That old boy could cook, man.
Oh man, oh yum, baby. It was. I
Yeah,
loved watching
you
all that.
don't really know what he was saying,
Yeah,
but it
like
was
Great Chef
amazing.
of the West, man. All that old. I used to watch all that stuff with my grandma. She was always trying to figure out some new way to do something. I mean, I still got. I mean, I have her whole cast iron collection and her old Wagner pans, and I mean, my kitchen's a bit of a family museum too, which is pretty cool at the house.
That's awesome. All
Yeah,
right, so in it from birth, got it. Food, it's there.
man.
Culinary school,
Yeah.
dishwashing at 14. Like, I guess I want to know, like personally, like how did Old Major come about? Like,
Yeah. So I mean, at the time, I already had Masterpiece Deli. I think we might have had two locations of that at the time, which was my sandwich shop concept, which was my first one. And like we opened up Masterpiece Deli 2008 with 15, $16 sandwiches. Everybody told me I was going to go broke. We opened up the door. I won like, you know, best new chef in town and stuff like that. And I was 27 years old. I was an owner, opened up as an owner, and I was like, Denver needs a good sandwich shop. So I did that. We crushed it. I made all these ballers. Like we won best cassoulet at a deli, and I was like,
nice.
man, I really want to do something that's really focused about farming, local animals, the pig, salami. Um, so that's where the idea of Old Major actually came from. And I had a buddy, Ben Parsons. He's a local winemaker here in Colorado. And he's like, you should do it. And I remember saying there was a bar. It's actually the oldest bar in Denver called My Brother's Bar. And him and I sat down one night and had too many beers. And he still has the napkin, but that's where it all started, which was pretty great. So we raised the money and built like this dreamy restaurant with the sickest kitchen and a salami dry aging room, and actually had the first HACCP plant in Colorado for making whole muscle and ground ferment salami inside of a restaurant. And I used to
Wow.
do the whole animal butchery while we were open on Wednesday nights, and it was like, I mean, that place was a party in there too. Like we were putting out sexy food with tweezers, but it was somewhere you could walk in with flip flops and a t-shirt and have too much to drink and too much to eat and get loud. Like at one point, I remember the Talking Heads were playing, and like the whole dining room was like dancing, and like I was running through dancing with them. Like it was a really fun environment. But yeah, that's kind of how Old Major came about. I really wanted to focus on the pig. I love the pig. It's the coolest animal ever. It's saved every culture. I mean, you can feed the thing garbage, and it turns into this big, robust, beautiful animal that you can feed your whole family on and use every bit of it too.
Right.
Like from the rooter to the tutor is definitely a cool thing about the pig. And being from Iowa, I love pigs. So yeah, that's how Major came about.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right. Now let's just shoot into the fun stuff. Like
yeah,
Brunson Meat Company, Noble Mold. Like, tell
yeah,
me a story, dog.
yeah. So through all the salumi making over the years, I have really learned a lot about mold and meat and flavor and some fermentation and aging and all these things. And we did it on salami. And I was like, well, I found this chef. His name's John Tsar down in Dallas. And I went to a steakhouse, and John and I we were cooking a dinner at the James Beard House in New York. And, I didn't know who he was or whatever. And we all cooked our dish. And he's like, hey, man, your dish was the best dish here tonight. I want you to come down to Texas and cook an event with me down there. And John and I became friends. And the first time I walked into John's steakhouse, he had this aging case, and it was full of moldy meat. And I'm like, what the hell? I've never seen the molds on the meats. And he just called it the molds. He didn't know what it was. Like, he just knew that it made the steak way better, right? And
Right.
so I mean, John let me take some of the mold. And I had a refrigerator in my garage that all my friends call the Jeffrey Dahmer refrigerator. And that's where I learned about the process over about the last 8 years. So I did this at home for 8 years and learned about the molds and temperatures and humidity and wind speed and breed and feed and what different processes are like on different animals and different cuts and different moisture. It's just totally took I'm a dork. I'm a meat geek. And I really learned about it. And then a couple of years ago, I reached out to John. I was like, hey, I've been playing with this stuff, and there's nobody out there doing a program like this in the country. And I was like, would I have your blessing to take what you taught me and turn it into a business and sell the noble mold aged beef, pork, and lamb to people in the country? And he's like, I would love that, Brunson. That sounds great. You go do that. So it was really cool that he taught me very rustically, and then I got super scientifical about it because that's just how my brain works. I wanted to know exactly what mold strains and exactly what temperatures and humidities those certain mold strains grow at. And like, it's funny because they feed and they'll die on that piece of meat too. If they live on protein, they eat on protein. So it's just been so cool. So it took me like 8 years of just being a weird freak with a Jeffrey Dahmer refrigerator in his garage. I took the molds, and we had them all tested, and it was okayed by the USDA to start a small facility here in Denver. And I had a room that I could put about, I don't know, 3,000 pounds in. And I started there. And we outgrew that in like the first month. I had two chef friends that had two of the best chefs in Denver, Alex Seidel at Mercantile in Denver, and then Matt Vodder at Rootstock and Redicato up in Breckenridge. And they're both like, we'll buy meat from you. So I started off with those two guys as my customers. And then we picked up a bunch more people. And then I outgrew my little room here. And then I have 2 rooms in Iowa now. And I have one here in Denver. And I mean, between the 3 rooms, it holds about 60,000 pounds of meat. If they're all full, of course. But of course,
that's amazing.
At one time. And yeah, and then, it was posted on Instagram, all this cool stuff I was doing. And this chef from this restaurant chain called Mastra's was like, hey, man, what is that? I want to taste that. I sent him a steak, and he was like, holy cow. And then he's like, can you send a couple boxes off to the COO of Landry's? And I'm like, sure. And the COO of Landry's is like, wow, this is one of the best steaks I've ever had. And, it's been a lot of just like organic growth. And a lot of the growth of my business has come from Instagram and just blasting these people are like, what in the hell is that? You
I'm not gonna lie, I was right there.
Yeah, man, you show them these fuzzy like pieces of meat that look like, there's a couple of them that I've had so much long, like I called them it looked like a goat, man. What that whole thing does, it's not just about it's about the age, and you're still going through your traditional dry aging. You're getting dehydration, right? Water loss. The natural enzymatic breakdown is still happening. So you're getting all that stuff. But what the noble molds do, it's insane. It's like everybody right away is like popcorn, brown butter, hazelnut, and Parmesan rind. But popcorn is the one that just, it blows up. Like you're cooking the steak, the whole house smells like brown, like buttered popcorn. It is insane. And most dry aging rooms, they kind of have more of a sour smell to them. Ours has a sweet smell. It's just, what is coming off the meat as those molds are eating the outside of that, and it's really imparting some insane flavors. It's a lot. Traditional dry aged beef is a lot different flavor. Your traditional dry aged beef, you got like a lot of blue cheese, where this is like popcorn.
Right.
So that's the big thing, and that's kind of what we do. And I'm a chef too, so I tried it on beef, started crushing beef, and then I started bringing in some heritage breed pork from this little farm in Missouri, and these red wattle pigs, and we did pork chops, and it was awesome. Then I brought in some Colorado lamb. We did that. It was awesome. We just did an R&D test batch on some Colorado bison, and it might be my favorite product.
Wow.
And then we also have a whole bacon line. I mean, I've always been a big bacon guy. I have a great bacon recipe. So we have 3 lines of bacon. We do a applewood smoked, a sugar-free, and a black pepper rub, and we sell that nationally as well through our distribution partners. And it comes in layout format for restaurants. We have retail format. We do slab. It's super high quality bacon that fits a perfect niche. It's uncured, no tripolyphosphate. All the pork comes from Seaboard Farms. They have an outpost here in Colorado. So it's a clean label bacon made with commodity pork, and it hits that perfect like price point for restaurants. But it's like, because you're super high quality in flavor, the commodity pork makes it a little cheaper. So we sell literally tons and tons of that every
You
week.
had me at bacon, dog.
Yeah, man, it's a baller recipe. It's all dry rub, bunch of bay leaf and juniper, mustard seed, brown sugar. We use the celery powder, so it's nitrate free. So yeah, that's what we've been focusing on. Brunson Meat Company is really just bacon and the dry aged meats, and just trying to keep our. I mean, it's grown so fast. This is our second full year in business. Like our first we had 6 months, and it was the new year, and then we just finished our first full year, so this will be our second full year in business. And I mean, we're getting national recognition. Chefs all over the country. I mean, to have Mastro Steakhouse pick us up is like,
Dude, that's massive.
I got a bunch of Michelin-starred guys. I got a bunch of James Beard guys. I mean, it's fun to see people eat the meat. Like, I just did a food show in Orlando, and like these chefs from Disney were like, "Holy cow, we never tasted anything." I'm like, like these guys get to try some of the best beef in the world. I mean, you're Disney.
Right.
So it's just really cool to watch everybody's face when they eat it and smell it. Like, my favorite thing to do when I do a sales meeting is like, I'm like, smell this steak raw, and everybody's like, I've never smelled anything like that. It smells sweet and popcorny when it's raw. And it's just we use all USDA prime Angus beef right now. I mean, my big thing is to work with American-owned companies, support American farmers, but also all the way back to the ownership, to make sure that it's just trying to. I grew up on a farm in Iowa, trying to, support the American farmer. So
Nice.
yeah,
I mean, I guess words, they're tough, but here we go. I think the big thing for me, like looking at your career and like hearing the passion for the product, like how would you say like being a chef set you up to be doing what you're doing now? Because that's a
I
big thing, man.
yeah. I mean, I wanted a meat restaurant, and I got a meat restaurant. It was a sick meat restaurant, and it just got me more into meat. Like playing with some dry aging there. We were making salami there, and I mean, it was and it's just like, the more and more I started to dislike the restaurant business, the more and more I um, liked the really really enjoyed the meat business. And I love service. I love cooks. I love I like the staff. I like the guests and the high volume, and that's great when you're young. I'm 45 now. I'm an old man. Like, the last thing I want to be doing right now is to be on a line calling tickets or cooking. It's funny, even as the executive chef owner of the restaurant, I worked for not. I always worked the line, and my chefs called the tickets. I hate calling tickets. I became a cook to cook. so I would hate to just be in that world right now. It's just not who I am these days. When I was young, I was super into it, man. I loved it. But as I've grown older, it's great. I still get to work with food. I get to be around the best chefs in the country. Tasting the best beef in the country, and I get to be creative too. Like, I mean, we're doing something that hasn't really been done before. It was funny. There is one other company in the United States that does mold aged beef, and I didn't even know about them to after I started doing it. Like I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, and it's cool. And I mean, by the pictures, we haven't talked, but their pictures, they're using different molds than I'm using. So
Sick.
it's just cool. And now I found out there's chefs in Italy doing it, in Japan, and we kind of have a
Oh,
small community of people that are doing this mold aged product. I mean, there's a guy in Japan doing it on fish, and it's the exact same mold. And I saw it. I reached out to him, and we swapped pictures. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's all the same stuff." We could tell by looking at it what strains it is. It's just really, really cool.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I think when we finish recording, you and I are going to talk a little business. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know, man. There's so much to be done as chefs. I spent 30 plus years in the kitchen, and it's like I look around and go, what is it I want to do next? And
Yeah.
I found that like helping chefs be better leaders was a great way for me to go into my next chapter, and I
Yeah.
totally would agree with you. Like being on the line in my late 40s was not pleasant. Like
No.
I told people a couple of times, they're like, you used to be like you used to love it. And I'm like, yeah, but like when you have that much adrenaline going for so many years, at some point, like the spark plug burns
Yeah,
and it
man.
stops being fun and it starts being like, I swear to you, it started being traumatic towards the end. It's like the
Yeah.
rushes that would come in, and the company I was working for, we were so busy, and it was like higher end Mexican food,
Yeah.
right? But it was cranking, dude, and
Cranking.
it wasn't great.
No, it's funny as you get a little bit older in life, that adrenaline changes, like
Totally.
and cooking in the kitchen is great and fun, and I had a great career, and I had some great teams that I worked with and worked for, and that they worked for me, and I mean, and the camaraderie and like the all of it was great. But man, you start getting up in your 40s and you're still hucking in a kitchen, man. It's hard on the body. That is a young man's game.
It is. It
Yeah,
definitely is.
yeah,
So, what are uh, as we talk about getting older, one of the things for me that is fascinating, and that is like, what are the things that like get you out of bed in the morning and kind of give you like that visceral response, like I'm gonna get to do this today? What are
yeah.
those things for you?
I think I'm having a lot of fun right now, just spreading the word of the noble mold aging process, because it's still just blowing everybody's mind. Like I just started a LinkedIn account, and like it just blew up, man. I mean, people are like, "What are you doing?" And I have all these like, I mean, huge beef companies reaching out to me. They're we never heard of this or seen anything like it, or like, and everybody's like, "Is it safe?" And I was like, "Of course it's safe. We operate under USDA inspection."
Right.
You know, um, yeah. So just like it's not often you get to be a person that is creating something that hasn't been done or isn't done by hundreds or thousands of people in this
Yeah.
world. Like, I mean, there's literally one other company that does some mold aging, and their product's awesome. And it's funny, I didn't even know about them until after we started going. And then someone's like, "What? You haven't heard of this?" I'm like, "No, I haven't heard of this." So like, it's so crazy. But yeah, man, to do something kind of cutting edge and to refine a craft and really produce some of the finest beef in the world. Like we, we just looked up. There's a world steak competition. Um,
Wow.
every year, and we're looking into what it would cost for us to put some product out there into it, because I definitely feel like we could be the best American beef producer out there right now. I mean,
And where is that? Where is that World Steak
it's
Competition? Because
I
I'm
think
booking a
it's
flight.
I believe it's in Italy this year. You can check. They got an Instagram page, Facebook. They're all over the place. The World Steak Competition. Um, and there's people from all over the world, and there's all these different categories. So we would be going after um, American producer. So I just think with the quality of beef we get and the noble mold aging, that I think we could cause some ruckus over there. And I'm not really
Hell yeah.
let's compete in something, but it's like, man, I just want to get this beef out there for more people to taste it, and it's just so much different than your traditional dry aging. So yeah, what gets me out of bed is like, and excited is definitely like, we're doing something that really hasn't been done, and
Nice.
right, to do it on lamb and pork and bison, it's just really fun. And um, it's been just a cool thing to learn about.
That's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
love it. Um, let's see. I think my one of my standard questions here is like, with all the things that you're doing right now, what constitutes a win in your day? Like, how do you win the day, man?
Man, what is a win? I mean, right now it's just funny. Like, so I mean, it's we're a small business, so I do everything. Um, and like when you go do sales are really funny. Like, like everybody's like, oh, I love the product, and then they find out how much it costs. It's very expensive product, and you go back and forth. And when they finally come back and they're like, all right, we're gonna put your steak on the menu, and it's such a win and a buzz. Like, it's really hard in sales, really, as a chef. Like, and I hope I didn't treat my salespeople um, too bad over the years. I was usually pretty good. I made them lunch and stuff, but and I always told them to make an appointment with me. And I try not to cold call, but sometimes you just got to do it.
Right.
So I think the biggest win for me is every time we get in, do a tasting. The chefs are like, "Holy cow, this is amazing," and we're willing to pay for it, and we want to put it on the menu. So because it isn't a very expensive process, there's a
Right.
lot of costs. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer that great product and like product that has some craft to it
yeah,
costs money, man. But you
yeah,
can't, it's like I was talking to a pizza guy the other day, right? Like he's opening up his little Italian sort of pizza pasta joint, and he goes, it's like the flour. This is the flour you buy. He
yeah,
goes, but it's
exactly.
more expensive. He goes, and I'm buying like the good tomatoes in the can. He
Yeah,
goes, I'm not
we buy the
because
most
I don't want
expensive
to.
beef.
And I said, and people complain about price, and I'm like, you know what? Taste it. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Like,
Buy the best, do something little to it. Like the best food comes from the best ingredients. You can't. I mean, it's just like there's this saying: you can't do epic shit with basic people. You can't cook epic food
love
with
that.
basic ingredients, man. Like you want the goods, you got to use the good butter, the good oil, the good flour. The good local produce that's in season, the good small family farm raised meats. The best of the best. Like we use all USDA prime. I buy most of it from the Midwest because I believe the best Angus in the country comes from the Midwest. That's where the best genetics are, the best corn. I think those cold winters really kind of make a tougher animal. The strongest the animals, the better it's going to taste, and a happy animal as well. So just all those little things, it all adds up to make the perfect ingredient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody said something to me recently that just like rung my bell. They're like, you don't get to drive a Ferrari when you have Kia money.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, got it. Okay.
But it's funny
And
as chefs and food people, like, I mean, I've always probably spent about 25% of my income on food where, a lot of people aren't like that. And you know what? That's good for them, like, but there's so many people that are out there and into it. They want to know where the meat comes from in the process and how we're doing, it's just so cool that people are into to what they're putting into their body. And I've always looked at it as like, food is medicine. Like, I mean, I don't get sick. I don't, like I eat really healthy. I mean, yeah, I'm a fat guy because I eat too much, but like, like I don't have high blood pressure, any of that shit. I mean, I eat protein and vegetables and nuts and fruits and, every once in a while indulge in a little bit of sugar. And, but it's just like, food is medicine and people are thinking like that more. And, there are a lot of people with a lot of disposable income these days too. There's all these tech people and stuff.
Totally.
Like you can buy one of my steaks and cook it at your house for about, 80 to 90 bucks, or you could go to a restaurant and have it for $300. So, what do you like to do? Like I rather cook it at home and buy some better wine, because just the steak would be $300, and then you're doing that, buying wine out, and it's just, I don't know. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
I'm with you.
It's not everyday meat for everybody, It is for some people. At least on the beef and the bacon's everyday stuff. We're in Kroger here with $7.99 a pack for a 12-ounce pack of bacon. So the bacon is like that.
Really, you're in Kroger? That's dope. I gotta look around. I would be interested to see if it makes its way out to Seattle. So
yeah, I mean we just launched with those guys right around Christmas time here. So it's been great. It's been received well. I mean, the packaging's great, the quality of product's great, the price is great. So it's just, slow growth, slow development, see how it works in this market. And hopefully we can take the bacon national with those guys.
there you go. That's what I love to hear. Like, just take it slow. A buddy of mine in San Diego, he goes, I grow my business the same way I cook my brisket. I said, how's that? He says, slow and low.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, to have steady growth is way better than to have this. Like, this is scary in anything, man. Like, I'd rather cruise right along and grow. Anytime you start taking spikes like that, it's life can get choppy real fast. And it's hard not to do when you have the opportunity. I say no a lot more than I say yes. I'll tell you that. That's one of those things you just learn as an older man too. It's like, well, let's try to grow slow, and the young guy wants to just go get it. Where you're like, well, I've made a bunch of mistakes in my life. Let's try to do this as slow as we can and responsibly for everybody.
Well, I think that for me, it's about, well, I just think like old-fashioned football, like real old-fashioned football, right? When they used to, and there was a coach, and I don't even know his name, but he used to talk about gain an inch and hold the inch.
Yeah.
Right? Don't give up ground, right? Just go smooth, gain an inch.
Yeah.
Hold it, gain an inch. Yeah. Hold it, and that's how I try to do business, because I'm not really interested in falling back or having to start over because we got greedy, So I appreciate that. Man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and talking to us for a little while.
Yeah, man, thanks for having us. I haven't done a podcast in a long time, so it was fun to get out and preach the word of the noble mold dry aging process and Brunson
Love
Meat.
it.
Yeah, it's great. If any of your viewers want to come check our website out, it's www.brunsonmeats.com. We ship all over the country, our bacon, our beef, our dry aged pork. We got some cool swag on there too. So
nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice. For all you out there, you can find us wherever you consume your podcasts and YouTube. So please go like, subscribe, leave us a review, and we'll catch you on the flip side.